Hello and welcome to my world. I'm of course Fredcast, and as you know, 7 nights a week I stream live over on Twitch playing a variety of video games, and the link to my Twitch channel is found in the description below. Now, this week, a lot of folks have gotten excited over the fact that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, has announced that they're going to have their untitled video game developed by Yukes, and a lot of folks are drawing a strong reaction that here's an opportunity to make a game that's just like No Mercy. Yukes worked on No Mercy, to which I want to correct you all right now and say no, they did not. Yukes was not involved in any shape, way, or form with the development of WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. The first Nintendo-related game that the folks at Yukes worked on was WrestleMania 18 for the Nintendo GameCube, and then 19 Day of Reckoning and Day of Reckoning 2. Again, but if you're talking about the games that Yukes has worked on, all the SmackDown video games. So from SmackDown to Know Your Role, Just Bring It, was it Shut Your Mouth, and then SmackDown versus Raw, to all the way up to now. Up until 2K, the early stages of development of 2K20 was primarily worked on by Yukes. So that is Yukes' legacy in and of itself. And they did not work on the Xbox One, the original Xbox's WWE games. Raw 1 and 2 were developed by a different studio entirely as well. I think they were called Anchor Entertainment. And in case you're wondering, for trivia purposes, the developers who worked on No Mercy were Aki Corporation and Asmik Ace Entertainment. Okay, so putting all that out there, yeah, Yukes are not the ones who developed No Mercy. All right, so we can basically take that excitement right off the table there. Now, a lot of people have said that what was it? Just Bring It, not Just Bring It. Here Comes the Pain, which is the greatest wrestling video game of all time. To which I say that game fucking sucked, and I still have it in my collection, mind you. But so you definitely have pause for concern there. On just the fact that Yukes again are the ones who are going to be working on a wrestling game for a new wrestling company. So there is cause there, because when you really get down to it, the formula and style of the wrestling games developed by Yukes has not really changed or evolved. Sure, during their tenure, they have incorporated new things like the poorly conceived weight detection, the grapple system, the submission, all the quick time events, and everything else. When they work these little things in, if it worked, they keep it in the subsequent games. So they build on it, but it's really more this fine tweaking here and there from one game to the next. And that's basically been their entire history as it relates to the wrestling games they've developed. It's the same story over and over again. Granted, I've bought and played the majority of them and and I've certainly enjoyed playing them, but even I'm not oblivious to the fact that it's essentially the same game over and over again. And it's basically the Electronic Arts syndrome, that when you have just the one major developer working things. I know EA is the publisher, but they have their own in-house development teams that worked on their games, the same games, same people working on the same project year after year after year, just to rush it out and get it out on time year after year after year. And so this is a reason for concern for anybody who is, for whatever reason, a fan of All Elite Wrestling. You're having a development studio who has proven they can get a game put out quickly, working on a game for a wrestling promotion that is really looking to make itself different from the WWE in every shape, way, or form. But Yeah, this is definitely a major concern there because one, what's to stop the people at Yukes from just saying, you know what, we're just going to use what we worked on, and we're just going to throw a fresh coat of paint on it, and this in this way it will be out in time and to compete with the next major WWE game, which more likely come out in the fall of 2021. So, because if that's going to be the case, you can't be excited for it. Now, I know the news also came out that they are going to get the director of WWF No Mercy involved with the AEW project, but let's throw a little water on that fire as well, shall we? Because from what I understand, uh, the director of No Mercy was Hideyuki Iwashita. I want to say his name was, like, off the top of my head, I can't really remember. But I do know for a fact that he hasn't worked on or overseen a major video game project since 2003. So you're talking 17 years there, and the last game that I believe he oversaw was Def Jam Vendetta. So yeah, you got have a development studio who's basically proven that they can get things out quickly and cheaply using the same things over and over again. Combine that with a director who has not worked on anything major in 17 years. That's not a good combination, folks. That'll be like someone saying, "Okay, we're going to have a development studio. We're going to have BioWare come out with a new game, and we're going to have the director for, I don't know, let's say, the original for like asteroids work on it. All right, so you're basically just throwing oil and water there, and this is not even taking into account that the Japanese game development industry is kind of unique and not really welcoming outsiders in to or taking in concepts that they did not develop in house. So yeah, someone who is kind of like in his own way going a relic from the past, working with somebody with a development studio who has not really changed the way they have done things in over the course of their 10 year course of 20 years. It's excuse me, it's definitely a recipe for disaster. Now, you could argue that Yukes has the knowledge and the experience, and they know what basically works. And if they take their time, and if this game is not rushed out to meet a release date in 2021, if it's released in 2022, uh, you, where they could basically take the time and develop a brand new engine. So you take, like, say 6 months to a year to develop a brand new game engine based on new core mechanics to make it as different as possible from any of the WWE games that Yukes worked on, and okay, you can definitely see a positive side there. But again, it's Yukes. The laziness is associated with their company in terms of doing anything unique. And heck, the last time wrestling, as it relates to wrestling, that Yuke did anything unique and different was what? WWE Legends of WrestleMania and what? WWE All Stars, and even then, the development of those two games was clearly rushed and ill-conceived and not really thought out well. I mean, the only good things about those releases were incorporated into the main lines of WWE games that they worked on. So Yukes definitely needs to take their time. You don't want that AEW game to resemble anything close to what Yukes has worked on over the course of the past 20 years. If it does, it's you know what you're going to expect. You already know what you're going to get then if it does. Now the question is, what studio would you want to have to work on an AEW game? And the question is, and really, there really isn't another studio that's out there that really could do it. And one could say that maybe if they got the development studio of the Fire Pro Wrestling series, that actually would have been better for AEW, because at the very least you would have had that legacy to work off of, and AEW's brand name recognition here, particularly here in North America, is definitely more recognizable than the Fire Pro series. And let's keep in mind that the Fire Pro series basically has a lot of deals already worked out with a lot of those company promotions in Japan. So if AEW could have gotten work something out with the developers of those games, it actually would have been better for them. But we'll see what we see when this AEW game eventually comes out. Even though I'm not a fan of the promotion, I'll probably get it. More likely I'll get it and play it, because hell, I played the WCW games, I played the ECW games, and obviously I played the WWE games. So might as well, give another wrestling promotion a shot to see if it is going to be anything different. But we shall see what we see. So that will wrap up this week's Ill Conceived rant. And of course, remember, I stream live over on Twitch. So with that said, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time.